Imagine standing on the surface of another planet. You breathe in the stillness of a world far from Earth, a world where human presence is still a fragile hope. The sky above is a muted shade of orange, not the blue we know, and the ground beneath your feet is rich with iron oxide, giving Mars its signature red hue. All around you is an alien landscape: rocky plains, ancient riverbeds, and towering volcanoes. Mars, a world that once had water flowing across its surface, now stands frozen in time, a barren and silent witness to the universe's mysteries. And yet, there's an enduring question. What if you could live here? What if you could survive, thrive, and call Mars home for an entire century? To get to Mars, you first have to leave Earth behind. The journey, even with today's technology, takes months. You'd board a spacecraft, perhaps one like the Next Generation crewed missions NASA or private companies like SpaceX and Vision. As the rocket lifts off from Earth's surface, you're propelled into the cold emptiness of space. The engines roar as you journey across the vastness of space, and as days turn to weeks, the blue planet shrinks behind you. It takes about 6 to 9 months to reach Mars, depending on the alignment of the planets. But as new technologies are developed, faster propulsion systems, perhaps even nuclear-powered rockets, it could one day take only a matter of weeks. Even with this speed, you'll still experience the quiet monotony of space travel, far from Earth's comforts and the reality of venturing into the unknown. Mars, with its reddish surface and cold embrace, waits for you. When you finally arrive, the real challenges begin. The moment your spacecraft touches down, the harshness of Mars becomes apparent. The air is thin, made of 95% carbon dioxide, not breathable for humans. With no atmosphere to protect you from the sun's radiation, the environment is far from hospitable. Mars' surface temperature averages around -60 degrees Celsius, but it can plummet to -125 degrees Celsius at night, freezing anything that's left exposed. Your first task is survival. You and your fellow colonists will live in pressurized habitats, protected from the fierce Martian winds and freezing temperatures. These habitats could be futuristic domes, built to house plants, equipment, and people, or perhaps even underground shelters where radiation is less of a concern. To generate oxygen, you'll rely on systems that extract it from the carbon dioxide-rich air, and to grow food, you'll use hydroponic systems, carefully controlling light, temperature, and water to cultivate crops. But there's no going back. Once you've set foot on Mars, it's a one-way trip. The first year on Mars will be a test of endurance. But the first year is just the beginning. As time passes, you'll adapt, along with your fellow colonists. With each passing day, Mars becomes less of a distant dream and more of a reality, albeit a challenging one. You'll learn to live in small, confined spaces, interact with a new generation of technologies, and work together to ensure survival. The landscape, though beautiful in its own way, will become monotonous. The endless plains, craggy hills, and rust-colored dust storms stretch on for miles. The planet's harshness will define your days. The sky, a pale orange hue, will never change. The absence of earthly features, like oceans and forests, might make you feel isolated. Yet you'll persist, not just as a survivor, but as a pioneer. You'll learn to appreciate the small things. The first sprout of a crop you've grown yourself, the excitement of a successful mission to explore a new Martian valley, or even the rare moment of communication from Earth, a message that takes up to 24 minutes to travel one way, leaving you with a strange sense of waiting. Fast forward a century, What began as an isolated outpost has now transformed into a bustling, thriving city. An entire world built from nothing but human ingenuity and a drive to explore. What once seemed impossible is now a reality. The first generation of Martian colonists, perhaps your descendants, have built on the dreams of their ancestors. Mars, though still a harsh world, has been transformed through technologies like terraforming and advanced robotics. Greenhouses filled with plants and trees, solar-powered farms, and a web of interconnected settlements form a new ecosystem. The city, with its towering domes and vibrant human activity, is the product of years of perseverance and technological advancement. But even after 100 years, Mars will still be a far cry from Earth. Its gravity, only 38% of Earth's, will have caused changes to the human body, bone density loss, muscle atrophy, and the need for constant physical therapy. The Martian atmosphere, even with new technologies, will still be dangerous, and the lack of a magnetic field means the ever-present threat of radiation. And yet, life will go on. 100 years on Mars would mean generations of people born on a new world, with children who've never seen Earth, growing up in a city of glass, metal, and ingenuity. They might never know the feeling of grass beneath their feet or the cool breeze of Earth's oceans. Mars will be their home, but life on Mars is not without its sacrifices. The physical toll would be immense. Reduced gravity would lead to muscle loss, weakened bones, and a need for constant exercise just to maintain basic health. The radiation exposure, even with protective measures, would increase the risk of cancers and other serious health conditions. Your body, slowly but surely, would change, adapting to a world that isn't your own. Mentally, the challenges would be just as daunting. Isolation would be an ever-present companion. On Earth, you could call your family at any time, go to a local cafe for a chat, or stroll through a park and feel connected to the world. On Mars, the only thing you'd feel connected to is the thin, red sky above. Communications with Earth would be slow. A message to loved ones could take almost 40 minutes back and forth to receive a reply. That means no immediate support when you're struggling with homesickness or loneliness. Over time, those feelings might grow. Even with other colonists around you, there will be times when you'll feel completely alone. And yet, this harsh existence would be the price for humanity's dream of colonizing another world. So, could you survive 100 years on Mars? Physically, it would be a constant challenge. Your body would feel the toll of Mars' gravity, radiation, and harsh climate. Mentally, it would be grueling. The isolation, the longing for Earth, and the endless silence of Mars would wear on you, day by day. But if you could endure, you might live to see a Martian civilization bloom. A place where humans and technology work hand in hand to transform a desolate world into a new home. After all, you wouldn't be alone forever. Your descendants would carry the torch forward, and a century from now, Mars could be home to generations of people born not in the cradle of Earth, but in the depths of space. And in that century, you may just leave a legacy, not just as a survivor, but as a part of something much larger. Mars may never fully resemble Earth, but one day, it might not feel so alien anymore. It might just feel like home. As we take our first steps toward this new chapter, who knows what the next century will bring? The possibilities are limitless, and Mars, once an impossible dream, may become humanity's new frontier.